Baba was saying, don't take this for granted. Because I think something that we've learned in lockdown is that perhaps we were taking quite a lot of things for granted, and we still are. Whether it's the family, whether it's being able to go to the center, whether it's whatever it is, being able to go out and give talks, whatever it is. I think it's been a wonderful lesson for us in not to take anything for granted. And at the end of the Murli, Baba uses that word attention. And it's like that, for me, that's what Baba's telling me today. Pay attention. Don't get sidetracked in all the busyness, all the talk, all the news. Pay attention. And what Baba says today is that he will keep on teaching us until we become karmatit. So that's a bit of a reassurance. Anyway, so let's hear today's Murli. It's the Murli of the 10th of May, 2021. And the essence of the Murli, sweet children, constantly maintain the happiness that God himself has become your teacher and is teaching you. You are studying Raja Yoga, not Praja Yoga. So yoga to become a king or a master, not to become a subject from him. And the question, what is the wonder of this study? For how long will you have to continue to make effort? And the answer, in this study, which you have been studying for a long time, new children go ahead fast. It is a wonder that 3-month-old children can go ahead of the older children. Why? Because their intellects are sharper. You have to continue to make effort until you pass fully and reach your karmatit stage and become free from all karmic accounts. Om Shanti. Where are you children sitting? In the school of the unlimited Father. You children should have very elevated intoxication. Whose children should have this intoxication? The children of the unlimited Father, who are spiritual children. The Father only teaches spirits. He doesn't teach Gujaratis or Marathis or Californians or Brits. That is name and form. The Father only teaches you spirits. Only you children understand that your unlimited Father is the same one who is called God. There definitely are other versions of God, but people don't understand who God is. They say, salutations to the Supreme Soul, Shiva. There is only one Supreme Soul. He is the highest on high, the incorporeal one. God Krishna isn't teaching you, nor did he ever teach you before. You know that the Father of us souls is teaching us. God is incorporeal. People still go to the temples of Shiva to worship him, and so he definitely must be something. There cannot be anything beyond name or form, name and form, because that's the saying that God is beyond name and form. Only at this time do you understand this. No one in the whole world understands this. It is only now that you have begun to understand this. You have been studying this for a long time. It isn't that those who have only come now cannot go ahead of those who have been coming for a long time. It is also a wonder that even 3-month-old children can go ahead very fast. And we're seeing this with what we call the Zoom babies. Amazing, just amazing how they're catching everything and bringing it into their lives. Some say, Baba, this soul's intellect is very sharp. And we can think maybe afterwards about what makes an intellect sharp. When new ones listen to this knowledge, what happens? They bubble up with happiness inside. All of you are godly students. The incorporeal Father, the ocean of knowledge, is teaching you. God speaks, is remembered. But when? They have forgotten this. Now you children understand that there are some children whose father is also their teacher. However, being practical, he would only teach one subject, and they would have other teachers for different subjects. Here, the Father is the teacher of all you children. This is a wonderful thing. There are many children who have the faith that Shiv Baba is teaching them. Sri Krishna cannot be called Baba. They don't consider Krishna to be a teacher or a guru. This one is teaching you in a practical way. All of you sitting here are different students. And how different we all are. Even in one center, but in one country, and then you go to Madhavan, we are very different students, sitting in Diamond Hall in the old days in front of Dada. All of you sitting here are different students. Baba, the teacher, will teach you until you pass and reach your Karmatit stage. Until then, you have to continue to make effort. You have to become free from karmic accounts. You should have great happiness inside you that Baba is taking you to such a world. There is no other school like this, where children would sit and be aware that the Father, the resident of the supreme region, will come to teach them. You are now sitting here and you understand that your unlimited Baba comes to teach you. You should have great happiness inside you. Baba is teaching us Raja Yoga. This is not Praja Yoga, yoga to become subjects, but Raja Yoga. It is only by having this remembrance that the mercury of happiness of you children can rise. This is such an important examination. And you are sitting here so ordinarily, in such an everyday way. Muslim students are taught while sitting on a carpet on the floor. And of course, in the early days, everybody was sitting on a carpet on the floor, right, Hansaben? You come here with this faith. You are now sitting personally in front of the Father. Baba says, I am the ocean of knowledge. I come cycle after cycle to teach you Raja Yoga. Whether you speak of 84 births of Krishna or 84 births of Brahma, it is the same thing. Brahma becomes Sri Krishna. Your intellect should imbibe this very well. There should be great love, and Baba uses the English love. There should be great love for the Father. We souls are the children of the Father, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who comes and teaches us. It cannot be Krishna who does this. Krishna would not have taught you like this. Baba, gives a reason why. Would he have taken off his crown, etc., and come here? The one who teaches you has to be a mature person. The Father says, I have taken a mature body. This is fixed. Shiv Baba teaches you through Brahma alone. It is said, truly, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, carries out establishment through Brahma. They don't understand where Brahma comes from. So all of these sayings, people are so familiar with them, but it's like sayings in the head. It doesn't make sense. They don't understand it. They don't understand where Brahma comes from. The Father sits here and repeatedly awakens you children. He does that every morning, right? The Father sits here and repeatedly awakens you children, and then Maya puts you back to sleep. You are now sitting personally in front of me. How many times has Baba said that? You are now sitting personally in front of me, and you understand that I am your spiritual father. You do know me, do you not? It is sung, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is the ocean of knowledge, the purifier, the remover of sorrow, and the bestower of happiness. Excuse me, I'll just take a quick drink. Thank you. They never, so it is sung that Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is the ocean of knowledge, the purifier, the remover of sorrow, and the bestower of happiness. So people know all these things that Baba tells us about, but they don't understand the depth of it, the reality of it. They never say this of Krishna. He couldn't teach everyone at the same time. I mean, the miracle of what Baba does. The Murli is spoken in Madhaban and then sent to all the centers. You are now sitting personally in front of the Father. You know that Baba taught you in the same way in the previous cycle. It was this same time that is now the past, which is now becoming the present. The things of the path of devotion now have to be renounced. So all the dependencies, all the, that kind of worshipping and whatever has to be renounced. And all the attractions of the path of devotion. You now, Baba says again, you now have love for knowledge and for the one who is teaching you. When some study with a teacher, they give him a gift. Here, this Baba himself gives you a gift. When he comes here and he sees you in your corporeal forms, he feels, these are my children. You children know that not everyone takes 84 births. Even someone who only takes one birth would still go through happiness and sorrow. You now understand all of these matters. This is the genealogical tree of the human world. Number one are Brahma and Saraswati, Adidev and Adidevi. Then the growth of innumerable religions continues. He is the seed of all souls. All the rest are leaves. Prajapita Brahma is the father of all people. Prajapita is now present at this time. Baba sits in him. and converts Shudras into Brahmins. No one else can do this. Only the Father changes you from Shudras into Brahmins and then teaches you to become deities. This is the study of easy Raja Yoga. King Janak attained liberation in life in a second. That is, he became a resident of heaven. People continue to sing this, but they're unable to explain it. The Father says, children, now become soul conscious. It's like he's saying, remember who you are. So even a Lokik father might say that. Some children, remember who you are, who you belong to. So Baba says, children, now become soul conscious. You came here bodiless, adopted bodies, and played your parts. We have truly taken 84 births. The Father, who is the truth, only tells you the truth. And Baba uses the English, who is the truth. So the Father, who is the truth, only tells you the truth. There will be a kingdom. And so it isn't just one person who studies Raja Yoga. So it's only not one person who becomes a king, becomes a master. All of you are now changing from thorns into flowers. You now understand whom you call thorns and whom you call flowers. This is the world of dirty thorns. We have been around the cycle of 84 births and have become residents of hell. We will repeat the history and geography of the world. We will definitely become residents of heaven again. We will become this cycle after cycle. Such an interesting thing. I know when I came into Gyan, that heaven wasn't a different place, it was a different time. The time made it a different place. Remember this repeatedly and also explain this knowledge to others. Lakshmi and Narayan belonged to the Sun dynasty. Christ came and there were very few before him. There was no kingdom. The Father has now come and is establishing the golden-aged kingdom. Establishment takes place at the confluence age. It is now in your intellects that this is the true Kumbh Mela, the huge gathering, at the gathering of the three rivers. But this is the meeting of the three rivers, whereas this is the meeting of the ocean and the rivers. This is the true Kumbh Mela. There are innumerable souls and one supreme soul. The Father, the Supreme Soul, comes to you, children, to purify you. This is called the Kumbh Mela of the confluence age. You have now each received a third eye of knowledge. The Father comes and makes you into residents of heaven. Then there definitely has to be destruction of the old world of hell. Destruction takes place every cycle. The new world becomes old, and the old world becomes new. This will definitely happen. The new world is called heaven, and the old world is called hell. The human population has grown so much. When they can't obtain grain, they know that they have to grow a lot more grain. However, so many children continue to take birth. Where will they obtain grain from? You children now have the guarantee that this old world is to be destroyed. Human beings like this knowledge, but none of it sits in their intellects. I'm sure we've all found that at exhibitions or talking to people. Oh, good. Yeah, nice idea. Oh, yes. Human beings like this knowledge, but none of it sits in their intellects. It is in your intellects that heaven will come after hell. The deities of the Golden Age have been and gone. Lakshmi and Narayan were the masters of the world, and there are their images. There is the original, eternal deity religion in the Golden Age. People don't call themselves those of the deity religion at this time. Instead, they say that they're Hindus. So they describe themselves by the place rather than their quality of being a devta, one who gives. You children know very clearly that you are becoming deities. Baba is teaching you through these organs. Baba says, how else would I teach you? He only teaches souls because alloy is mixed in souls. You now have to become real gold. You went from the golden age into the silver age. That is, when the alloy of silver was mixed into the soul, you became part of the moon dynasty. You were in the golden age, and you then came down, and the population continued to increase. It is now in your intellects that you have been around the cycle of 84 births through the golden, silver, copper, and iron ages. You have played these parts many times. Doesn't matter how many times you hear it, it's still incredible. No one can be liberated from his part. Some say that they want eternal liberation. But you, in fact, are the ones who should be distressed because you have been around the cycle of 84 births. People think that coming and going continues to take place. And so they ask why they can't be liberated from it. However, it is not possible. Even gurus say you will attain liberation. Remember the Brahm element and you will merge into that. That's what they say. And Baba's comment? There are many different ideas and opinions in Bharat. Not just Bharat, actually. But anyway, Baba's talking about Bharat here. There are many different ideas and opinions in Bharat. There aren't as many opinions in any other country. There are so many opinions here, all completely different from one another. No wonder we have trouble. People also study a lot of occult power. Some make saffron emerge and others do something else. People become very happy with that. This, however, is spiritual knowledge. And Baba uses the English, spiritual knowledge. So it's not bhakti, it's not occult. This is knowledge, spiritual knowledge. You understand that the spiritual father, also in English, is the father of us souls. Spiritual Baba is talking to us spirits. He comes and tells you the story of true Narayan and the story of immortality, through which you become the masters of the land of immortality, and Narayan from an ordinary human. You then become like shells, so worthless. You have now received a birth as invaluable as a diamond. Let's remember that all of today. You have now received a birth as invaluable as a diamond. Therefore, why are you wasting it, chasing after shells? How many more years will this world remain? There continues to be so much fighting and quarreling. Everything is to be destroyed. Death is standing just ahead of you. So, who would enjoy the hundreds of thousands or millions that you have? Why not use all of that in a worthwhile way instead? By opening the spiritual college, people become ever healthy, wealthy, and happy. This is a hospital and university combined. There is health, wealth, and happiness. Truly, you receive a long life with the power of yoga. You become so healthy. Bobby uses the English. You become so healthy. You receive limitless treasures. They show a play about Allah, the one who established the first religion. You understand that the original eternal deity religion established by Allah gives a lot of happiness. The very name is heaven. You are residents of the land of peace, and you then first went to the land of happiness, and then continued to come down while taking 84 births. I sit here and explain to you children in this way every cycle. Something so sweet and intimate, the way Baba always talks about him sitting, I sit here and explain to you children in this way every cycle. You do not know your own births. I explain them to you. You have taken 84 births, and this costume is now impure, and the soul has also become tamopradhan. Everything Baba tells you is right. Baba uses the English right. Baba never tells you anything wrong. He is the truth. The golden age is the viceless world, the righteous world. Ravan then makes you unrighteous. This is the land of falsehood. It is sung, Maya is false, the body is false, and the world is false. Which world? The whole of the old world is false. The true world was in the golden age. There is only one world. There aren't two worlds. The new world then becomes old. There is a difference between a new home and an old home. When a new house is being constructed, you understand that you will go and live in the new home. Here too, in Madhavan, new houses are built for the children as the number of children continues to grow. You children should have a lot of happiness. The Father says, all the poor, helpless children of myself, the ocean of knowledge, have become completely burned by sitting on the pyre of lust. I now make them sit on the pyre of knowledge. I seat them on the pyre of knowledge, and I make them into the masters of heaven. By sitting on the pyre of lust, they've become absolutely ugly. Krishna is called the ugly and the beautiful one, but no one is able to understand the meaning of that. Look at what you are now becoming from what you were. And that goes for all of us, right? The Father changes you from shells into diamonds. Therefore, you should pay that much attention. Baba uses the English attention. You should remember the Father. It is only by having remembrance that you will become the masters of heaven. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and namaste. I'm sorry, and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual
And
children
the spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father.
Say to the spiritual father. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you. So the essence for dharana, first point, don't waste this invaluable life that is like a diamond chasing after shells. Death is standing just ahead. Therefore, use everything you have in a worthwhile way for spiritual service. And 2, have true love for this study and the one who's teaching you. Maintain the happiness that God himself comes to teach you. So this study is about love and happiness. And Baba talked yesterday about some have the burden of the study. And sometimes if we don't give it that extra attention, if I don't give it that extra attention, or it becomes routine, or I feel I don't have time because I'm too busy doing other things, then that love and happiness gets depleted. So Baba's talking about have true love for the study and the one who's teaching you, and maintain the happiness that God himself comes to teach you. And a really beautiful blessing today. May you become an embodiment of attainments by experiencing all the powers with the awareness of having all rights. May you become an embodiment of attainments by experiencing all the powers with the awareness of having all rights. If your intellect is constantly linked to the one Father, you receive the inheritance of all powers as a right. Those who perform every action while considering themselves to have a right do not need to say anything or ask for anything. The awareness of having all rights gives you the experience of attaining all powers. So, have the intoxication that all the powers are your birthright. Continue to move along as one who has all rights, and dependency will then finish. Beautiful blessing. And the slogan, very interesting. Along with making yourself pure, to make the elements pure too is to be completely free from attachment. I'll read that again. Along with making yourself pure, to make the elements pure too is to be completely free from attachment. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much. Now, you still have some time.
Great.
Right. You have a good enough time. So you can share when did you come in Gyan and how did you come in Gyan and what effort you are making. And
Lovely.
so take your time, and in the end, we will have meditation and sharing. Okay?
Lovely. Well, perhaps I'll just share what I really loved about today's Murli and how it was completely helpful for me, and how this chance to be with you again is doubly helpful. So I'm particularly grateful. One of the things I sometimes do is I ask myself 3 questions. What was significant in the Murli? For me, what touched me, and what am I going to practice? And the significant thing for me in the Murli was this point about not taking the study for granted. In terms of accessibility of Murlis or accessibility of the center, but also just making sure that I give it that time and energy and interest when I'm listening, but also after I've listened. Because, we can all be good and show up and we're in the register, but actually, am I playing with it? Am I using it? Am I interested in it? Am I touched by it? Am I inspired by it? And so for me, that was very much about, and, Baba asking all these questions and answering all these, asking questions as well, but answering the questions like, just remember who's teaching you, what this time is, what he's teaching you, who you are, whose body he's sitting in. He just went through everything to say, just realize how special this is. So that was a gift for me. And what really, what touched me was the slogan, actually. Sorry, not the slogan, the blessing. Because I've always I remember a very difficult time in my life when I felt I was in a little bit of a challenging situation. And I wrote to Gentiban, actually, and I said, I feel my stage is going down. I'm getting a bit worn down. I was a carer for someone, and it was a very tough time for that person, but it was also quite challenging for those around. And because of that, I was pretty much full-time carer, and I couldn't go to class or Amrit Vela, and they were having, I was in Oxford and they were having silence retreats, and I couldn't join that. And there was it kind of got to me. And I had been fine, but it got something happened and it got to me. And so I wrote and I said, I know this isn't right. I just want to tell you, I'm feeling this. And I also know that the answer will be in the Murli. And it was a Sunday. And I read the Murli, and in the Murli that day, Baba was talking to some Australians, and he said, never forget that you are a soul with all rights. And that for me just switched it, because it's like, it's got nothing to do with what I'm doing physically on the ground. What position I'm in, what center I'm in, whatever it is. It's really all about the extent to which I remember that I'm a soul, and I take the rights and I claim the rights that Baba's offering me. But today I really loved it the way Baba, for me, he took it further in saying, I have rights to all the powers. So anytime that I hear myself, and the old Rachel, the weak Rachel will say, I can't do this, or I might feel it's not very fair, or I missed out on this, or I'm too tired, all of those silly little lies that we tell ourselves. And I thought, I have a right to all powers, and that's what all powers means. If I have all powers, I won't get tired. If I have all powers, I won't feel I can't do this. It's too much, because I'll have that clarity of mind to find a solution. But it's when I don't have the clarity of mind. It's interesting how Baba talked about a sharp intellect. And so that's what really touched me, though, was that slogan about, yes, having been connected with Baba, and then knowing that I have a right to all powers. And and then, what am I going to practice today? And I thought the slogan is so interesting about this, becoming pure oneself, but also purifying the elements. And I don't know about you, but I love nature. I don't see it very much. There's not a lot of it in Willesden, in North London. There is a nice park down below, but sometimes I don't often get there, but it's very nice when I do. But I love nature, and I rejoice in it, and it refreshes me and whatever. And it's great. But actually, I'm asking myself, to what extent, and Daddy used to ask this question, even going to Oxford, she'd say, have you come here to serve nature, or is nature serving you? And I remember when I first went to GRC Global Retreat Centre in Oxford as a new student, it was like a new students retreat. So I was maybe 3 months in Gyan. And it's stunning. I don't know if any of you have been able to come yet, but I hope you'll come when it reopens soon, in a few months, hopefully, inshallah. But it's stunningly beautiful. The building is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The gardens are exquisite and beautifully kept by a team of Baba's children. And they just can't not make you feel well, and what it must be to be a deity, and because it's just so beautiful. But I remember thinking, looking out of the window, these beautiful windows in this beautiful room, looking out into the garden and thinking, this beauty is nothing compared with the beauty of the soul and God's love that I'm learning right now. And so when I'm in, and that's what I want to practice, is when I'm in nature, do I remember the beauty of the soul and the capacity of the soul to serve nature? Or am I just going as a tired Rachel, or a, Rachel who's sick of grey walls, and I'm wanting to be cheered up by nature and comforted by nature and refreshed by nature? Of course, that's fine. It's wrong, but it's like, can I, when I'm in nature, remember actually the beauty and the power of the soul and the capacity of the soul to serve not only other souls, not only the self and other souls, but also nature. So that's what I really loved in the Murli. But anyway, a little bit, Hans Ben's asked me to say a little bit about myself, because it's always nice to kind of get to know each other, and I wish we had time for all of us to do this. But so, yes, I came into Gyan in Cambridge, and in 2004. And if you'd asked me in 2003, I'd have said, no, I don't think so. I loved spiritual people, but I didn't think I was one. And then various things happened in my, I think many people have reasons why they come into Gyan. And I'd been a wanderer all my life. I think I'd had 28 addresses in 28 years and probably as many jobs. And all of them interesting, but just never enough, kept moving. So I was definitely one of those stumblers and wanderers that Baba talks about. And also then in the 5 years leading up to that, there'd been a few sad and quite shocking things happening to my family and to my close friends. And that really woke me up. And I remember thinking, it's not that I can't take anymore. It's not just that I can't take anymore. I can't give anymore. And that was a really horrible feeling, that I was just so depleted and so saddened by what was happening all around me. I was well, but what was happening around me was so deeply distressing. And, I didn't have the capacity to deal with it myself. And I didn't have the capacity to comfort those who needed comfort. And I remember thinking, I don't need comfort, I need strength. And where am I going to get it? And I went to see a very dear friend of mine from university days, who's a Sindhi, actually, funnily enough. And I said, I just don't know what to do with my life. It's not worth the cost of the rent, so to speak. And she said, you should go to India and do yoga. And I said, I don't need to go to India. I'm going to go to the Brahma Kumaris. And you think, how come? How come should you? And it's because I'd been practicing Hatha yoga for about 5 years. I went up to move when my father had a massive stroke. I went up to live with my family up in Yorkshire, and I'd been my treat of the week was Hatha yoga every Thursday, and it was my Hatha yoga teacher who said, there are these people called Brahma Kumaris, and they have very good thoughts for today. And I must have looked up who were the Brahma Kumaris, and because I'm very suspicious of any organization and whatever. But the nearest center was an hour and a half away. But I signed up for the emails and I loved them. I really loved them. I loved the fact that they weren't, soppy and patient strong or Pollyanna and over cheerful. They were just really uplifting. And I used to share them. I used to send them on to all my friends all over the world, or wherever all those 28 addresses I've been living. This one's good. And who's this guy, Daddy Janky? He's really clever. And so honestly, I got so much sustenance from those thoughts for today, but I didn't go to a center because it wasn't possible while we were looking after Dad. And then I think and then I moved to America. I went to Boston for a while, but the great thing about email is that wherever you move, your emails come with you. So I was and that was a really tricky year for various reasons. And I just really felt the sustenance of it. I came back after that. After that year, I came back to England and I decided I just wanted to make a clean start. So I went to Cambridge. I didn't know many. I know maybe 2 or 3 people, and 2 of them offered me a part-time job, but that's it. I didn't know anybody else. But I went. The first thing I did is I went to King's College, which is the most famous college in Cambridge, and right opposite King's College was a sign, Brahma Kumaris, and my feeling was, my friends are here. And being a suspicious type, I still didn't go in, because when I saw that they were offering it for free, I thought, well, that's a bit funny. But when later, then because when I knew that I needed to do something, that's when I said to my friend, I'll go to the Brahma Kumaris. I rang them up, and I went to that inner space in Cambridge, and I sat there for 2 hours, and I just asked every question. And the sister Sheila there said, well, we just felt we could tell you everything. And I said, who is that man? Where do you get your money from? What are your rules? You know, all of that. I just asked everything. And I came out with a copy of Adi Dev, and I signed on for the course a few days later. And when I did the course, and it told me that I was a soul, I was not my body, I was not my house, I was not my job, I was not my history, I wept. My whole body just shook and wept. And I was kind of like 47 at the time. And I just was so relieved. It's like, I finally come home. I finally come home. And so I very soon moved into a bhavan in Cambridge, and I started coming to London to help in London. And then about a year later, I moved to London for that 3 months that is often used. So I came for 3 months to work for a project called Just a Minute, which some of you might remember. It was where we launched the idea of the 1 minute meditations. And I never went back. Having sworn I would never live in London ever again. It's a very lovely place to be. And I've been I'm saying I've been extremely fortunate, because I am, but actually I believe that each and every one of us, whatever our experience has been and wherever we are, is extremely fortunate, right? We just have a different kind of fortune. So nobody's fortune is better than anybody else's. It's just unique. But my unique fortune was that I was around, although Daddy was mainly in India, much more in India from the time I was there. She did visit a lot. And one of the things I used to do, which was lovely, was that she would ask me to write up her classes for quite a long time, which was a wonderful way of me, of course. And she knew she just had to give me a job. It's a bit like telling the genie to go up and down the ladder. She thought, right, what can I give Rachel to do to keep her from wandering and keep her focused and keep her learning? So that was a great gift. And then also perhaps when I became a carer as well for someone, that was another way of kind of staying connected. It was one of the seniors, and so that was a way of staying connected. So I've been very fortunate in the trust that was put in me, and it's such a as I say, a new kid on the block, and just feel very grateful, constantly learning. So I'm back in London now, and I mainly do things to do with, we all do a bit of everything here, like in many places, but I suppose like kind of main role is around media and writing and copywriting, and maybe I help a little bit with administration for Sister Genti and various other people, but it's that sort of thing. But we all do lots of things, and at the moment I'm doing meditations for local hospitals online, which I love, or we teach, or we cook, or we serve, or we clean, or all of that. And then another of Hans-Ben's questions was, what's your current effort? And my current effort, and it's a realization really that came upon me only a couple of days ago. I mean, it's been there, but it really hit home a couple of days ago. Was we had a teachers meeting here in the UK, and we were all sharing what our experience has been over lockdown. And I realized, to be honest with you, that I've been very busy. I mean, I suppose because apart from maybe a month or 6 weeks when we were in the bhavan, 8 of us in the bhavan together, and not allowed to go to the center at all. Apart from that, a few of us sort of volunteers or servers could go into the center just during the day, but we'd stay in the bhavan, obviously. And so it has, and even actually when we were in the bhavan, because everything went online, and because, Daddy leaving and whatever, there were so many communications and media activities that I did get very busy with administration, and, the local council wanted to have figures and all of that. And, you know, it's been wonderful to see the magic of this service that's happened through the internet and on so many levels, and to hear how people have benefited, not just figures, but how people have benefited and how people have come closer, and how old Brahmins have come closer and how we Brahmins are coming closer. I mean, it's wonderful. But I have to be honest, I realized that I haven't given enough time to personal. I mean, I have, of course, you know, Amrit Vela is my, you know, without which I wouldn't carry on. And evening meditation is also very special. But I really see now that I have to give more time to that. And the more time I give to that, the easier all the activity, the service activity will be. And so I've kind of like given myself a sweet kind of ticking off of just, you know, a reminder of not to get into that. You know, there will always be a long list. There will always be an urgency. But as somebody once said to me years ago, and it's such a brilliant story, I have to share it with you. I used to edit a little magazine, and it was coming up to the Christmas edition, time for it to be published, and we still hadn't got the copy, you know, the draft back from the designer. And I'd sent 2 emails, and I sent a third one saying, it's becoming a bit urgent now. And he sent an email immediately returning, never usually returning emails immediately, but he did this, and he said, Rachel, the only urgent thing is your stage. I thought, brilliant. So that's really my reminder to myself that the only urgent thing is my stage. Of course, there are things that need to be doing, that of course there are important things, but my effort is, and I think, you know, the blessing today really, really said it all for me, is that, you know, it's you know, it's step number one. It's lesson number one. Stay remembering who I really am, who I belong to, the powers that I can take from that one, and then everything will become easy. And it's only, you know, and like Baba said yesterday, it really struck me, you know, where there's effort, there's some kind of desire. And so I need to look into what is the desire, you know, and is it a desire to please? Is it a desire to look good, always delivering on time, or whatever it is? But there's some desire that's making it difficult, because that desire is distracting me. And this comes back to the sharp intellect. For me anyway, the sharp intellect of new children is the happiness, you know, it's like, wow, this is it. This is my focus. This is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in all the other stuff anymore. And we all remember that heyday of the early days when it was like complete attention. So one is that, but it's also this not being pulled by some kind of old, I don't know, old sanskar, old dependency, old limitation, old defect that is just clouding my intellect, because it means I'm not focused in one place. I'm slightly going here, then there, then here, then there, and there, and that doesn't make it sharp. So that's for me what I'm just starting on now, because every day is a new starting, but particularly at this time, how we really, you know, how we really are karma yogis, and not just people who do karma and then people who are yogis, but keeping the two together. Thank you. And perhaps now, I don't know if anyone else wants to share or anything else you'd like to say.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely, so inspiring, so encouraging, very honest, very open-hearted. It will be very good. Anybody else wants to share anything? First, we can say thank you to Rachel.
We just wanted to say thank you to Rachel then for sharing this wonderful experience and for reading the Murli.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sister. It was very nice sharing.
And what a Murli.
Very nice sharing, sister. Thank you so much. Very inspiring.
I'm coming closer to see your faces. That's lovely. Lovely to meet you.
And so now, anybody wants to share what you learned from the Murli today? Anybody wants to share what you like from the Murli today? You are so absorbed, right? What Rachel shared, and we all are. Yes, but if you want to share something, please feel free. I like Baba said, you are here learning Raja Yoga, not a Praja Yoga. You are going to become a king, not a subject. And it changes whole our inner mindset and makes us ready that we are becoming kings. So automatically it helps our mind, intellect, our decision, our power to discern. It helps in all aspects of our life. Anybody else?
Yes, I would like to share, Hansabin. I was thinking, since this was a Sakar Murli, I was thinking of the story of when Daddy Janki came, and she said to Baba, I came late. And then Sister Mohini, they were sharing that Daddy made a comment to everyone. And Daddy said, I will go ahead of these sisters. So like when Baba says in the Murli, the new ones, their intellects are so sharp, you know, they can go ahead of the old ones. And Daddy made this statement. She said, I will go ahead of these old ones. And she was referring to like Daddy Gulzar, Daddy Prakashmani, all the ones that had come before her. And she said, this is not my ego. This is my effort. And so today I was thinking of that young ones going ahead of the old ones, and yesterday's Murli, and how do the new ones go ahead of the old ones? It's from the old ones' good wishes and generous hearts, and all those positive thoughts of you first that are like so uplifting, that creates this atmosphere of good wishes, and they can fly and just go ahead. It's so beautiful. So I'm thinking of that today. Om Shanti.
Beautiful.
Very good, thank you. Anybody else?
Om Shanti. I like Baba says, have love for the study and love for the one who teaches, who is teaching you. And also Baba says, you have to become soul conscious. The way we came bodiless, we have to go back home bodiless. We have played our all different parts and have become dirty. So it's now time to go home. Just like Baba sent us clean, we have to go home clean. Om Shanti.
Very good, thank you. Next.
Om Shanti. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Hansabin, for arranging Rachel Ben to speak today. It was very interesting. And today I like the point where Baba is saying, he's making us from a thorn to a flower and stop chasing the shells. You are a diamond, stop chasing that. I just love that point. Om Shanti.
Very good. Anybody else? Some of you may be already at the job or whatever, but we are very happy. Thank you so much, Rachel sister.
Thank you. It's been a joy. It's been a real joy.
Right, yes. So now every Monday we will have somebody from London. We are almost planned up to end of June. So another 7 to 8 weeks, because London is so many Baba's old children. So I said, anybody can read Murli and share some experience, which will be very inspiring. That way we will start our week on every Monday.
And it's
then,
lovely for us. Really lovely for
exactly.
us. Thank you.
Yes. And then every Saturday, now we have one of the sisters from London or any other parts for the Western Baba's children, particularly. That will be for Contact Soul also. So this Saturday is Maureen Goodman from our Global Cooperation House. And then following Saturday will be Rita, Emotional Liberation from Denmark. Perhaps you know her.
Okay, great.
Right. And then beginning of the June 5th, I think it's Aruna from Kuwait. Right. And
Yeah,
I think
we're zooming around, aren't we? It's wonderful.
right, exactly, yes. So, and then in between, there is one another brother or sister from London also. So we are planning every Saturday, we'll be nurturing Baba's children plus Contact Soul, very close Contact Soul. So we'll have some kind of classes because it's a very good timing, 10:30 to noon. So every Saturday, London timing. So we are adjusting the time. So it's very good, yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank
Let's
you.
have a moment of
Thank you so much.
silence and convey our love and regards to everyone wherever you are, Rachel Ben.
I
Sister Rachel.
will. Lovely to be with
Thank you, sister. Thank you so
Right.
much.
And
Thanks.
thank you to Urvashi Ben. She helped to organize all this stuff and coordinate, right?
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
She's a
Ben.
great
Om
coordinator.
Shanti.
Yeah, but we
Rachel.
said,
Thank you.
Sister Rachel, we said that you can say 21 times, thank you, Baba. 21 times, I appreciate you, Baba. And 21 times, I'm grateful to you, Baba. So if we do that 63 times, then our 63 burden will be very fast finished.
Beautiful.
A good point that we try. Okay, so let's have a moment of silence. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti. Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti. Om Shanti.
Take care.
Okay, I will end the call now. Thank you so much for joining. Om Shanti, Om Shanti.